On Tuesday, New Star Games announced that this fall they will be releasing Retro Bowl College Plus to Apple Arcade. They excitedly announced on their website, and I quote, "With the arrival of Retro Bowl College Plus on Apple Arcade this August, it means for the first time that all games in the Retro Bowl series will be available on the Apple Arcade service." End quote. But is this news that we should really be excited about? All of that coming up next on this video on The Mesh Point. You see, Retro Bowl didn't become the viral success that it is today because of a subscription-based model. It became a success because it was a free-to-play game that has a one-time 99-cent purchase to go to the unlimited version, giving you an ad-free experience and extra features. Now, Apple wants to lock it behind a $6.99 monthly subscription paywall. With this new announcement about Retro Bowl College Plus, I believe there to be significant reason for caution, but make no mistake, I'm not calling for a boycott. I'm simply calling for us to be cautious, to keep our eyes open on what's going on here with New Star Games and Apple Arcade, or Apple overall. This new direction that Retro Bowl is going is a path that many other games have gone down that has not ended well. And usually this decline down to this path to a subscription model that locks players out is signaled by three main things. First is an abandonment of the foundation. You give less features, less new games, less bigger updates to the original players, and instead you give it to those that choose to pay for a subscription. Next is a fragmentation of the community, splitting the players based solely on what sort of hardware they choose to use or can afford to use. Next is a tethered save file, a move from a buy to own to a rent to borrow system, a system where the games that you love and work so hard on are locked behind a glass case. So Retro Bowl, I believe, has begun to abandon the player base. Here's a list of Retro Bowl updates that are available on the original Retro Bowl game to both Apple and Android users. May 2026, they updated a kick returner option, the kick returner feature, and fixed a bug. April 2026, they fixed a bug. December 25, they fixed the trucking mechanic. December 2025, bug fix. Here's Retro Bowl College, the original Retro Bowl College game available on both Apple and Android. April 26, bug fix. December 25, bug fix. September 2025, conference profiles, team tiers, postseason bowl layouts updated for the 2025 season. June 25, they added the option to sim the game in the middle of the game. Now here are the updates that have come to Apple Arcade, mostly on NFL Retro Bowl. They added Retro Bowl College Plus, of course, coming this fall, which will have a league-style era selector, and you should totally look into that. I think from what I've heard from New Star Games that this will be available in the unlimited version of the original Retro Bowl College. We'll just have to see. And then, of course, they announced NFL Retro Bowl 27, a continuation of the NFL Retro Bowl series exclusively on Apple Arcade. Then in May 26, and then the NFL Retro Bowl 27 will have a gauntlet mode available only in NFL Retro Bowl 27 on Apple Arcade. May 26, they updated NFL Retro Bowl for the 26-27 NFL schedules and added the Super Bowl 61 branding assets. Then in May 26, they added 30 real players. March 26, they added rivalry challenges. December 25, they added 55 real players. And then October 25, they transitioned from NFL Retro Bowl 25 to NFL Retro Bowl 26 and added international series fields and a few other things. You see, when the original game is given less updates, the players of those games are essentially playing a demo of the real game. It's intended to funnel users to the subscription model so they could really start making some money. In the original Retro Bowl, and Retro Bowl players are pushed back from the main experience to a free sample. In addition to abandoning the original games, the New Star has begun to divide their players through these games. They divide their players between Apple and Android users. The Apple users getting newer games, bigger updates, newer features, with the Android users playing older games with smaller updates, essentially bug fixes. Now, why is this a big deal? Well, the matter of fact is that 70% of smartphone users are Android users. This automatically locks 7 out of 10 possible players that could be playing the games, the newer games that are getting those nicer updates. Not only are you locking out 70% of possible players, you're also fragmenting your community. Now, is this fragmenting the current Retro Bowl community a big deal? Well, let's look at a previous example. Battlefield 2042. They separated their players between newer consoles, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC, from those playing on older consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Those playing on the newer consoles got 128 player matches and expanded maps. Those playing on the older consoles got 64 player matches and played with downsized maps. And some map zones were completely cut from the game entirely. What was the result? Well, some friends couldn't play together. And you might be saying, well, on Retro Bowl you can't play together anyway. That's fine. This is the result of Battlefield 2042. Here's the real thing that I think really affects the Retro Bowl users, Retro Bowl gamers, is that players in Reddit, YouTube, and other social media platforms could not communicate effectively about Battlefield 2042 because they were essentially playing an entirely different game. The experience was so different that they couldn't really even talk about what they experienced because they experienced something entirely different. And ultimately, Battlefield 2042 went down as a major flop. Now, it wasn't entirely due to the fragmentation of the gaming community, but that certainly played a major role. The gaming community is who the game is made for and who the game is sustained by. When you split the gaming community into two, you walk down a dangerous path. So by New Start separating Apple and Android users, they separate a once unified gaming community into first and second class players based entirely on what hardware they can afford or choose to use. Now, if you're an Apple user sitting there watching this video thinking, I'm safe, I have my iPhone and my Apple Arcade subscription, you are not safe. You're not safe. You see, New Star through Apple has embraced a rent-to-borrow method instead of a pay-to-own method. It's an entirely new system. So if you decide, hey, I'm a little tight financially, I need to cut this $6.99 monthly subscription, that's $85 a year, and you cut it, you instantly lose access to the games, and your game save files are gone, completely gone. All that work that you might have put into building the team that you've always wanted to build or taking your favorite team to the Super Bowl is all gone forever. Or say one day Apple decides, hey, Retro Bowl isn't making us enough money to make this NFL license make sense or to really make us any money at all. They could simply just cut the line. They could take NFL Retro Bowl off. They could take Retro Bowl College Plus off. They could take Retro Bowl Plus off if it's not making enough money. And at that point, you lose access to the games. You lose your game save files again, as you would if you cancel your subscription. Deleted, gone forever. All that work, gone. Deleted, gone. And you see, the matter of fact is that Apple users risk everything by playing these Apple Arcade games. Now, for any of you thinking that I might be calling for a boycott of New Star games, of Retro Bowl, or of Retro Bowl games on Apple Arcade, I'm not. And I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. I just want to clarify that I still really love New Star games and Retro Bowl. And I'm still going to continue to play Retro Bowl. I'm still going to continue to support New Star Games. And in fact, I really think that New Star Games is a really great gaming studio that still will continue to grow, and I'm going to continue to support. But the matter of fact is that an NFL license costs a lot of money. A lot of money. So New Star Games went to Apple, struck a deal where Apple likely pays for most, if not all, of the NFL license. So if you're Apple thinking, I'm paying all this money for this NFL license, I need to make money back somehow, where would you go? Well, you'd go where you can make money, and that's behind a subscription paywall. In this deal, Apple steps up as the financial shield so the developers of New Star Games can make the game they've always wanted to make, the experience they've always wanted their players to have. New Star Games is not the villain. They're trying to create the best experience possible for their players, but Apple wants to lock it behind a subscription paywall. You see, the magic of Retro Bowl was never in Apple's corporate contract. No, the magic was always and will always be in the community that shares the Retro Bowl experience. So keep supporting New Star Games. Keep playing Retro Bowl. We can still love the game that has really accomplished so much and respect that studio that has done that while still being cautious, keeping our eyes out, especially for Apple, who really just cares about the money. They don't care about the players. But that's all for today, everybody. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious about what you guys are thinking about the direction of New Star and their contract now with Apple. So tell me what you think in the comments. But that's all for today, everybody. I'll see you next time on The Mesh Point.